I'm taking this video to submit it as documentation on how ridiculous the polygon decision was today for redistricting. So ahead of me, that's the parking lot for Clemens Crossing Elementary School. Off to the right, you can see the playground, you can see the pool, and ahead you can see the school. There's a lot of cars here right now. It's 4:48 p.m. That's the pool that my kids walk to, the playground my kids walk to. My 4-year-old currently walks to that playground. My 11-year-old has biked to this school for 6 years since he was a kindergartner, and he parked his bike at that bike stand. Actually, that bike stand's been replaced, but it's always been a bike stand there, because we live within walking and biking distance of Clemens Crossing Elementary School. So I just want to show you how very close we live to Clemens Crossing and how very far we live from Bryant Woods Elementary School, because I don't think you have any understanding of the logistics in this community, because it does not enable anybody to easily get to Bryant Wood Elementary School, something that I don't think that you can actually see on your maps when you're looking at polygons. So I'm going to come out here to Martin Road and take a left. But actually, if you were to bike or walk, since this is all within the Hickory Ridge Village Center, you would actually just take the paths that are over there. They go past the pools, they go through these neighborhoods to the left, and you would actually be able to just, like, you know, very quickly bike or walk up here, and I will show you where those paths come out. So right now we're driving through all sorts of polygons that have been districted to Clemens Crossing, I believe. It's very hard to follow the redistricting process unless you don't work and can watch videos, which is not my life. So kids would be able to keep walking. You know, my kids walk on the paths through here. They cross that street, which is just a single lane. They can go through the neighborhoods back here, and these are cul-de-sacs, so they don't even have to cross any streets. And then this last cul-de-sac on the left, which I believe is this one, is where the paths come out and they come over and they come up Martin and around this traffic circle. Now this neighborhood is very much, I would say, an island. There's only a few ways out. To the right is 29, so you can't get out that way. Straight ahead is actually Martin Road, taking you out to Hickory Ridge Road and to Merriweather Pavilion. But this is very much a neighborhood because it is an island. And you will see that by moving the polygons you've chosen to move, you are going to isolate all these kids. So one of the polygons that's being moved to Bryant Woods is this one here on the right. That road right there is the only entrance in and out of that neighborhood. It also includes my polygon, which is this neighborhood right here. Right here on the right and on the left, or right, sorry, there's two rights. Those are the only ways in and out of these neighborhoods. And so you can see my kids could have walked or biked very easily to this neighborhood. In fact, I've always been surprised we're even put on a bus, because actually it's less than a mile from school. I suppose the only reason we are is because to drive it, it actually is 1.2 miles, but to walk or bike it, it's actually less than that. And so this neighborhood actually it's essentially like a giant U, and then there's some cul-de-sacs coming off of it, but there's no other exit out of this neighborhood. It does not connect to the road out there that goes by the community college, whose name I'm currently blanking on. But here in less than, let's see, 4 minutes, I've arrived at my house. And I live probably the furthest in this neighborhood from Clemens Crossing. There's a cul-de-sac that's to the right here, and maybe they live a little bit further, but it's marginally further. So a 4-minute drive from Clemens Crossing to my house. My timer on my movie says 4 minutes and 30-ish seconds. Okay, so now we're leaving my neighborhood with the other route that I was talking about, because as I said, it's a giant U. And so the only way out is out here to Owen Brown Road. And that's what makes this an island, is there are no outs going towards the mall or Howard Community College. I kind of think that maybe you don't see that on your maps, but that's the case. And that is why these kids will be completely isolated. It's not even a bus worth of kids, I don't believe. Because when we went to Clemens Crossing Elementary School, all the kids in these neighborhoods got picked up by the same bus, and then more kids got picked up. So it's not even one bus worth of kids, which is kind of ridiculous to isolate and create a tiny little feed. This, I believe, is the last polygon. This is Jerry's Drive. It also has no outlet. You can see on the sign it says no outlet. It just goes up, and then there's a couple of cul-de-sacs, largely like my neighborhood. Now, this is one way we can get to Bryant Woods Elementary School. So this is Owen Brown Road. It is a 35-mile-per-hour road. My kids do have to cross it to go to Clemens Crossing, but you can see that we would have to travel quite a distance on it. I've complained to the county numerous times because people routinely go like 50 miles an hour down this road. It's not the safest, but it's what it is. But my kids would have to come all along here. Now, you could take a right here at Sunny Spring, but essentially you have to go, it's neither here nor there. It comes out the same place, because essentially that goes out on the hospital and the community college. So you'd have to come out to this light. We're already 2 minutes from my house. And we're not even close to Bryant Woods Elementary School at this point. Okay. This isn't the fastest light, but we might get lucky here and we can take a right. Okay. Red. Okay, and then we have to travel up Cedar Lane. Cedar Lane is like the worst road. The lanes are narrow. There's not good sidewalks, but hopefully they will fix that. Who knows? I doubt it, but anyway. So somewhere in here, we've left Hickory Ridge Village. I live in Hickory Ridge Village. I'm not exactly sure where, but I'm pretty sure somewhere in here we're actually in Harper's Choice Village. Maybe we're still in Hickory Ridge Village. I'm not sure. I can say for sure you have to travel through 3 villages to get from my house to Bryant Woods Elementary School. Thankfully, traffic's not too bad. It's almost 5 o'clock. But this was the time I had to be able to do this. You can see how busy these neighborhoods are. My middle schooler doesn't even really like to bike this way. He would like to bike to his middle school, but he goes to Wild Lake Middle School, and so he typically doesn't because there's too much traffic, not enough bike paths, and not exactly a walkable neighborhood. Unlike the neighborhood that we live in, where we walk to the pool and the playground and to Clemens Crossing Elementary School. So we'll wait here at the light. Oh, it's Hickory Ridge Road. That was the one I was trying to think of before. And that comes out here. So this plan might make sense if our neighborhoods actually had exits out on Hickory Ridge Road, but they don't. There's some power lines. They just has never happened. So. And the kids who live on Hickory Ridge Road don't really interact with our kids because it's so far to go from our neighborhood to the houses that are on Hickory Ridge Road. So you probably don't see that on your map, but in reality, that's the way it actually is. Okay, so now we're going past the hospital and the community college. They're both to the right. So essentially, my kids will have to go past the hospital and the community college every day to go to elementary school. Interestingly, up here, straight ahead of us is Swansfield Elementary School. We're actually going to we'll take a right and kind of, bypass Swansfield Elementary School. We're clearly in Harper's Choice at this point. And then we have to go down yet another busy road. I believe this is Little Patuxent. Go past the hospital and the community college. Of course, nobody lives at the hospital or the community college. So essentially, there are no kids in these polygons. They live in these polygons. which is why our kids will be so very isolated from any of the other kids in our elementary school. Yet again, emphasizing that this is a really horrible decision that you guys have made without really considering what the communities are actually like. They're not just contiguous land masses. So over there to the right is Howard Community College. And we're going to take a left here onto Harper's Farm Road. This comes out, over by Safeway and Harper's Choice Middle School. Okay. So we're going to go past all these apartments. I don't know what polygons these are. I would guess they're either Swansfield or Bryant Woods, but I don't actually know. I don't know what they currently are, and I don't know what they will be in your plans. Okay, this is not my favorite intersection, but we take it a lot to go to middle school. So to the right would be our turn for middle school. I feel like our middle school is pretty far away, but we don't really have a middle school that's closer for some reason. I don't know why it's that way, but it is that way. And then we'll keep going. And then I'm not exactly sure where Bryant Woods Elementary School is, but I know it's over here on the left somewhere. So bear with me, I might make a mistake. But right now it's 11:39. So I left my neighborhood, at 4:30? So it has currently been 7 minutes. So if I take some wrong turns, we'll at least know it took me 7 minutes to get to the Starbucks in the Wild Lake Village Center. And hopefully you'll just... I've been to Bryant Woods Elementary School. My son played soccer there for SAC. So I do sort of know where it is. But I don't have my GPS on because I'm doing this video. But I believe it's right here on the left. My son always complains about how there's signs to all the elementary schools and middle schools. But of course, when I could really use one, I don't see one. Although there is one for Wild Lake High School, which is a beautiful high school. Okay. So... not my son's high school, though, because my kids will go to Athelton. Because we walk to Athelton. We're within walking distance of Athelton, so all the kids in our neighborhood walk to Athelton. Which is also why this is kind of like you're creating a very small feed that will be Bryant Woods Elementary School, Wild Lake Middle School, and Athelton High School. I think just our 3 polygons. Maybe there's one more polygon over on Sunny Spring. So I think Bryant Woods is around here somewhere. But you're gonna have to, I might have to apologize because maybe I don't exactly know where Bryant Woods is. But I'm fairly sure it's in here somewhere. Hold on, let me just see if I can bring up. So my video stopped when I did the GPS, so I had to restart it. You missed a little bit before I figured that out. What I was saying when it was off was that, interestingly, this was not the way that Google suggested I go. Google suggested that I actually take from my house to get to Bryant Woods Elementary School to actually take 29. That would be the fastest route this time of day. Okay, so we're still driving to Bryant Woods Elementary School. As I said, I'm not sure I took the most direct route here. It's not the easiest elementary school to find. It's not, this is not a neighborhood I'm familiar with. And I'm not entirely sure that my GPS is still working. So this might not have worked. Hold on, let me try this again. Oh, there's a school sign, so maybe this is it.
In 0.1 mile, turn right.
Is Bryant Woods Elementary School. So, let's see. It took me a minute. I think it took me 7 minutes to get there. Their parking lot here is a little weird because that's not it. That's like, I don't know what that is. But yes, here's the
turn right.
here. And you come up this little hill. That do not enter sign always freaked me out when we came to soccer because I thought it meant do not enter the elementary school, but it's actually just placed for that parking lot. And you can see here's a school bus, and here's the elementary school. And
You have reached your destination.
Adorable little kids lining up, probably from CA. So all in all, it took me about 9 minutes. As I said, I'm not sure it was the most direct route. I'm going to turn this off, and then I'm going to try to set up another one to do on the way back, a different route, which might be a little more direct, but you can see also not anywhere close to my neighborhood. Okay, we returned, so now I'm using my GPS to get back. It says it's going to take 10 minutes. I think that's probably optimistic this time of day. But we shall see. But I am going to use my GPS this time. I'm hoping it'll take you the other route, so you can see there's only 2 ways out of my neighborhood going north. There's only 2 ways going out of my neighborhood going south.
Turn right.
So it really is an island, and when I say my neighborhood, what I mean is the houses around Clements Crossing, including the 3 polygons you moved. We are really...
In half a mile, turn left.
Split up, and you've really isolated these kids in these 3 polygons. It's just so upsetting to me. I really hope that you will watch this and understand that it's just not, it's not the way to do this. Okay, this neighborhood I always struggle with, but I think it said go right, but I don't have really a right, so I'm going to assume that's go straight. Windstream comes out at the mall, I think, so I think that's right. I mean, it's not like Bryant Woods Elementary School is exactly like anywhere close to anything that I go to. So, like, it's really in a neighborhood. And in a neighborhood that my kids don't come to very often. Except for soccer.
In 0.1 mile, turn left.
Maybe that'll change. My son just is now in Wild Lake Middle School, so maybe he will have friends at Bryant Woods, but I don't believe any of these kids will go to Athelton, so I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Okay, so here we are left.
Turn left.
Maybe this was the turn I should have taken before when I got a little lost. I'm not sure. But when I take a left, where we're going to go is actually the mall. That's why we have to go through at least 2 village centers in order to even get to go through 3. We have to start with, from my house, we go through Hickory Ridge, and then either Harper's Choice or the town center before we even get to Wild Lake Village Center, which Bryant...
In 0.1 mile, turn right.
On the other side of the village center from, like, where we live or where the middle school is or Wild Lake High School is. Okay.
Turn right.
We'll take a right. So the mall is straight ahead of us. I think, actually, Mod Pizza's probably straight ahead of us. Okay, so I'm going to take a right here on Red. So this is a very busy neighborhood.
In a quarter of a mile,
I don't know.
Turn left.
What schools these kids go to. But I don't
In 0.1 mile, turn left.
It might be that this is all Wild Lake. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Bryant Woods. I'm not sure. So again, here we have another busy intersection. So we have the Exxon station and the fire station, just to give you perspective.
Turn left.
So it might be hard to tell. So we are on, I think this is what, is this Twin Rivers? And then ahead of me, the cross street, it goes Little Patuxent. So you can see how busy this intersection is. It seems crazy that you would put an elementary school on 2 different sides of Little Patuxent Parkway. But you have. And ultimately, maybe the problem is you just don't have enough elementary schools where people live relative to the major highways. I'm not sure. My kids would be excited. There's a fire truck turning into the fire station. Catch a glimpse of that while we wait at this light. We're now 4 minutes and 25 seconds into our commute back home from Bryantwood Elementary School. Point that out because if we were going home from Clemens Crossing, we'd already be home. Okay. And the polygons you added to Clemens Crossing, or you left in Clemens Crossing, many of them can't even walk to Clemens Crossing. So they're not in this neighborhood where there's only the 4 outlets.
In 0.1 mile, turn right.
That make these, separating these 3 polygons from the rest of the neighborhood are so troubling. So this is pretty typical. We're backed up on Little Patuxent to take a right onto Broken Land. It's probably better than it used to be because now people can actually cross at this light, and they've put in this wonderful bike path. It doesn't really help our neighborhood much because, at least for the kids, because they'd still have to cross at this major intersection or at one of the major intersections. My son has mapped it out to go biking from middle school, and he thinks that the best and safest route would be to go through the community college. I'm not sure what the community college thinks about kids traipsing through the community college to go biking or walking to their middle school, but it's kind of what it is. Okay.
Turn right.
We now have this protected green that is nice. It used to be that Broken Land wasn't as bad, but when we're probably going to have to sit at the light up here because we no longer have a dedicated.
In half a mile, turn right.
From Broken Land to Hickory Ridge. But you can see there's a lot of traffic. This isn't, too bad. I would say it's maybe lighter than most days, but not terrible.
In 0.1 mile, turn right.
Off hours, this isn't quite as bad, but this is the time frame we'd be talking about me picking my kids up. Us going to extracurricular activities, of which we probably would not do any because it's just too far. And I don't have the option that my kids could even walk home, unlike they currently have. So we're now at 6 minutes and 44 seconds. You can see the light turned green, but we're not going anyplace. That's pretty typical. It used to be this was a dedicated turn lane, so it wasn't as slow, but they redid this with Merriweather. So over to the left is Merriweather. So this is all a very busy area, not very neighborhood-like. I don't know where the kids go to school over to the right. Okay, so we're going to hit the yellow, but we can probably take a right.
Turn right.
Once we figure out where everybody's going. Oh, there's a pedestrian and I'm in the crosswalk. Okay, so now that he's gone, I guess I can take a right on red. Okay, and then we're gonna come up here.
In 0.1 mile, turn left.
We're gonna turn left here. So this is the other way in and out of the larger neighborhood.
Turn left.
Neighborhood I was talking about that has the 4 inlets and outlets. The one that, all the other kids are going to Clemens Crossing except these 3 polygons. So I think the kids along here may go to Bryant Woods, but you'll see it's not very closely connected to our polygons because of how far the distance is. For us, in a way, it's a blessing because I think otherwise people would park in our neighborhood to walk to Merriweather so that they didn't have to pay the parking fees. But I think if you go through with this plan, it'll be horrible for our kids. Okay, so this is one of those outlets. So just to be clear, this neighborhood, this is one of the outlets.
In half a mile, at the roundabout, turn right.
The other one is onto Cedar Lane. There's 2 onto Cedar Lane, one down by Giant and one over the one I took you on before. And then the other outlet is the Shaker Seneca Drive exit entrance onto 29 to 32. So this, I believe, I don't know where all these neighborhoods are going. I don't know what polygons they're in. Not neighborhoods, where these houses go to school. I know that currently Whoops, there's a deer.
In 0.1 mile,
Currently,
at the roundabout, turn right.
currently many of these kids go to Clemens Crossing. But I don't, at least on the right, I know some of these families, but I don't know how they fared today with the polygons. I don't think they're part of my polygon. I know they're not part of my polygon, but I don't know if they're maybe part of the Metzler's Garden polygon.
At the roundabout, turn right.
That was one of those streets I showed you at the very beginning. It's the first polygon I pointed out. I can point it out again. Okay, so here we're back at that roundabout where I said there's no outs, right? You can go to 29. Going straight ahead, we'd go to...
In a quarter of a mile,
It would be like 2 minutes.
turn right.
Crossing from there. We're currently at 10 minutes from Bryant Woods. So 4 minutes to go to Clemens Crossing.
In 0.1 mile, turn right.
I would say in moderate traffic. I would say that typically my experience is that time of day the traffic is actually heavier. And so, yeah, here we are turning back into my neighborhood again. So I meant to point out where that polygon was, but it was just the right before this.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left.
Polygon, which is this giant U that I explained earlier, and then the next road down, which is the third polygon. And so
In 0.1 mile, turn left.
Unless I can get them sliced together, really show you how this does not make sense. I mean, these there's no outlets over to Hickory Ridge Road. This is a really long distance. It's through, areas that don't have kids.
Turn left.
And it's really going to leave these kids isolated. And it's not even a busload of kids. So you have not even a busload of kids that you're creating this little feed for that would do Bryant Woods Elementary School, Wylick Middle School, and then Atherton High School. And these are kids who could...
You have reached your destination.